This is Matthew Kratters, Bitcoin University. Today I want to talk about something that's called the decentralized Bitcoin price, and this is a way to determine the price of Bitcoin just using blockchain data. It's called UTXOracle. It's a new way to estimate the daily US dollar price of Bitcoin using only a Bitcoin node, which is pretty cool since, as you know, the Bitcoin blockchain contains zero fiat price data. The blockchain contains only confirmed transactions, i.e. transactions that have been included in a block. And if you ever want to inspect the Bitcoin blockchain, you can either run your own instance of this or you can go to mempool.space. You can click on any of these blocks and you can see the transactions that are living inside of them. UTXOracle is what's called a portmanteau word that combines the two words UTXO and Oracle. For those of you who don't know, I can't resist here. Portmanteau is a word coined by Lewis Carroll in Through the Looking Glass. Examples of it that are in modern English are smog, which is a combination of smoke and fog, brunch, which is a combination, obviously, of breakfast and lunch, and motel, which a lot of people don't remember, is a combination of motor plus hotel. UTXO is just an unspent transaction output, in other words, a chunk of Bitcoin that can still be spent. And then, of course, you have what oracles are. The oracle problem is this: how do you get real-world external data into a self-sufficient, isolated system like the Bitcoin network, or really any crypto network? And how can the network trust the oracle that is relaying this real-world data to the network? For example, how does the Bitcoin network know for sure, did the Eagles actually beat the Chiefs, or was it vice versa? It's very difficult for the Bitcoin network to know this for sure and to know whether it can trust the oracle that is relaying this information. There's currently no trustless solution for doing this. PS Chainlink, LINK, which is another crypto, Chainlink did not solve the oracle problem and is a scam. So hopefully we won't see those guys in the comment section below. And UTXOracle is technically not an oracle since it uses on-chain data rather than external world data. But this is the basic context for the name. And this was developed by Simple Steve, at Steve Simple, if you want to follow him on X. As he posts here, if we listen closely, Bitcoin tells us its own price. In other words, its own fiat price. UTXOracle is live, 100% on-chain data, real-time mempool entries, no banks, no exchanges, no paper trading, no API calls, open source, decentralized, the only objective price. And you can check it out on YouTube. They're actually streaming it live at UTXOracle. We can see here on the left, they confirmed on-chain the average price from the last 3 hours is about $95,000 per Bitcoin. The current price based on what's in the mempool, or at least in Steve's mempool, is $95,202. If we look at the exchange feed here from Clarke Moody dashboard, $95,410. So it's extremely close. And you could actually argue that the price of UTXOracle is a much more fair price because there may be some paper Bitcoin going on in this quotation that Clarke Moody's using, or if you're using any any exchange data, this could skew the data. If you're enjoying this video so far, just pause here really briefly to ask you to please help to support this channel's educational mission. Hit the subscribe button, that does really help. Leave a like, leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future video, and share this video with a friend or family member. So as we said, UTXOracle, rather than relying on a price feed from an exchange, uses only on-chain data. And you can trust Simple Steve's nodes on-chain data for this, or you can also run this program yourself. Since it's free and open source software, you can run this program yourself using data from your own node. And all you need to do, I haven't tried this out yet, but all you need to do is you download Bitcoin Core. And this only works, I believe, with Bitcoin Core. It doesn't work with Bitcoin Knots, which I'd encourage Steve to add support for. So you basically download Bitcoin Core, or an instance of the Bitcoin consensus rules, the Bitcoin software, and then you can install this software from his website. You basically have to know how to use the terminal. And there's a link here if you want to look through the code. This basically explains all the different parts of the code. And then there's a video as well if you want to really dig deep into that. How accurate is it? This plot shows the price of Bitcoin as determined by UTXOracle from 2021 to the present, and then the Yahoo US dollar Bitcoin price. And we can see here that they track extremely closely. Lastly, how does this work? What is the mystery? Well, I'm going to let Steve tell you that. I think he does a better job than I could. So let me play this.
It turns out that if you look at the transaction history of all time, in 2016, 2017, as we zoom in here, you'll see that people started spending round amounts of US dollars. This is what these jagged lines are here. This is $1 of Bitcoin, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $200, $500, $1,000, all the way up to $10,000. We can see people spending round amounts of dollars. Just think about how you yourself spend Bitcoin. When you're sending Bitcoin to a friend, don't you usually use $20, $50? When you're getting a Bitcoin from an ATM, isn't it exactly $100? When you're sending Bitcoin to an exchange, don't you often send like a round amount, like $500 or $1,000, so you can remember how much you sent there? Turns out if you what UTXOracle does is it simply imports the day's worth of transaction activity. It looks for where all of these lines are. It uses all of the round amount lines in order to exactly find where these lines are occurring. If you know that a transaction was $100 and you know how much Bitcoin that transaction was, you simply divide $100 by the amount of Bitcoin, and that gives you a price estimate. And that's how UTXOracle works.
So this is a very, very clever way of determining the fiat price of Bitcoin based on on-chain data. This is the real price of Bitcoin based on real Bitcoin transactions that take place on the blockchain in the Bitcoin network, not transactions from an exchange that may involve paper Bitcoin. And so I think that in itself may make UTXOracle really useful someday as a paper Bitcoin indicator. If we get a divergence between the exchange prices and the price of Bitcoin as determined by UTXOracle, I'd have to think through exactly how this would work. But I guess the larger the delta between what we're seeing on exchanges and what we're seeing on UTXOracle may be some indicator of the amount of paper Bitcoin. But that's a topic certainly for a future video. You should all go follow Simple Steve on X at Steve Simple. I'll put a link to this in description notes below. I think it's a really cool project and definitely worth keeping an eye on and running yourself if you're interested in that sort of thing. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.